At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to do a city walk tour of Reykjavik and a food walk tour. So I'm just leaving the hostel right now and I'm going to make my way towards the meeting point for the city walk tour, but first I'm going to grab some breakfast at this bakery slash cafe called BakaBaka. It's a very cute little bakery. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to order, so I asked the cashier for his recommendation, and then I also picked one pastry that I thought just looked good from the window. So I decided to enjoy my breakfast outside. So they have a little patio area with several picnic tables, so I just decided to eat there. So the first thing I had was the donut. So this is what I saw from the window that caught my eye. I thought it looked really good, and it was very good. It had a little bit of powdered sugar on it and a cream filling. Very good, would recommend. And the cashier, he recommended the Almond Croissant. Now I normally would have never picked this just by looking at it. It's not something that I would immediately be drawn to, but you guys, it was so good. There was almond butter on the inside. It was soft, flaky, very fresh. So good. I wanted to get one every single day for breakfast while I was there. So if you guys go to BakaBaka, make sure to get the almond croissant. So after breakfast, I had a few minutes to spare before I had to meet at the meeting point for the city walk tour. And the meeting point was in the public square right in front of the Parliament building. So I highly recommend this tour, you guys. You learn so much about the history of Iceland and get to learn a bunch of facts about Reykjavik and walk through different parts of the city. It is very informative and fun, and it lasts about 2 hours. Booking opens 5 days in advance, so make sure you guys book your tickets because they do sell out fast. So you don't have to pay anything to book. You just book online and you will receive a confirmation email, and it will contain more details about the tour and everything you need to know. I highly recommend doing this tour. This was one of my favorite tours that I did in Iceland just because of the amount of information that you learn, and our tour guide was very knowledgeable about Iceland and the city. So after the walking tour ended, I had about an hour before my next tour, which was the food walking tour, and the meeting point for that tour was at the Harpa Concert Hall, which I visited yesterday, so I knew exactly where it was. So I made my way down there, and I booked this tour with Wake Up Reykjavik. I was very excited about this tour because it was awarded the #1 food tour by TripAdvisor for 2023, and I believe also 2022. So I was very excited about it. It has almost 10,000 reviews, and I was very excited because you guys know I am a foodie. So the tour is about 3 hours, and I highly recommend this tour. And of course, you guys, everything that I talk about in this video will all be linked in the description below. If you guys have any questions, just comment below. So with all of that being said, let's get into the food tour. So after we left the Harpa Concert Hall, we made our way to our first restaurant. Before we went in, our tour guide described the dish. So at this restaurant, we had the Icelandic surf and turf. So we were served slow-cooked lamb shoulder on top of an Icelandic flatbread with horseradish sauce. And we also had smoked Artic Char on top of a chickpea pancake with caviar. So this was very good. I did prefer the lamb over the Artic Char, but a lot of people on the tour did say they preferred the fish because it was very fresh. Overall, I give this restaurant an 8 out of 10. So our second stop was a seafood restaurant, and we were served pan-fried buttered Artic Char with cherry tomatoes and potatoes, and we were also served a cod stew with potatoes, onions, and ground pepper with a side of rye bread and Icelandic butter. Now this was my favorite restaurant on the entire tour, and my favorite dish was the fish stew. I thought it was so creamy and delicious. It kind of reminded me of like good creamy mashed potatoes or a creamy Alfredo dish, but it was just very good. I enjoyed it very much. So our next stop was the famous hot dog stand. Now I was a little bit nervous because I'm not that big of a fan of hot dogs to begin with, so I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna like it, but I did like it. You know, it wasn't bad. I think the fried onions on the hot dog was a very nice touch because it gave it an extra crunch. So the traditional way to eat an Icelandic hot dog is with raw onions, crispy fried onions, ketchup, and a sweet brown mustard sauce. So overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, but I think if you really like hot dogs, you would give it a 10 out of 10. So at our next stop, we got to try the traditional Icelandic meat soup and fermented shark. So I'll let my tour guide explain a little bit about it.
Íslenski barinn, or the Icelandic bar. So what we'll be having in here is Íslenski-Kjötsúpa, or the Icelandic meat soup, which is a brothy kind of soup with lamb in it and a lot of root vegetables, so carrots, onions, potatoes.
And we also got to try the fermented shark, which comes from the Greenland shark. And fun fact, the Greenland shark has the longest known lifespan of all vertebrate species, and they can live to be about 400 years old. Now the way to eat fermented shark is quickly, do not chew it too many times, and then take a shot of Brennivín right after. So beer was included in the tour, but if you wanted to do the shot of Brennivín, you would have to pay extra. And big disclaimer, Brennivín is very strong, so if you're not a big drinker, I would skip the Brennivín and just stick to the beer. The meat soup was very good. It had a lot of flavor. It tasted very familiar. It reminded me of a typical meat soup. It was very good. Overall, I rate this restaurant an 8 out of 10. So the last stop of the day was at Cafe Loki for dessert. So here we were served rye bread ice cream with whipped cream on top with a rhubarb caramel syrup and a deep fried twisted donut, and of course coffee and tea. Now I was a little bit disappointed because I had heard such great things about Cafe Loki and the rye bread ice cream and how good it was, but honestly I didn't really like it. I guess it just wasn't for me and I didn't quite like the texture or the flavor. So let me know if you have tried this ice cream at Cafe Loki and liked it or didn't like it. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't my favorite. If I do go back, I wouldn't order it again, but I would love to try some of their other items on the menu. One thing I did love about Cafe Loki is the view. So we sat on the 3rd floor and you got the most beautiful view of the church, and it was just such an amazing environment to have your coffee and eat ice cream looking at this beautiful view of the church, and a great place to end the tour. So after the tour, I decided to go take a look inside of the church. So our tour guide told us that it took 45 years to build, and the columns on the outside represent the columns that you see on the black sand beaches. So stay tuned for that video when I go to the black sand beach. The church is very beautiful on the inside. It's kind of different from what I'm used to seeing in the United States because you have like the stained glass windows and a lot more intricate designs and pictures. But this church was very simplistic and clean. I'm not sure if that's the style of the religion of this church, but I thought it was very beautiful. I really did like the look on the inside. You are allowed to go to the top of the church in order to see the city, but you do have to pay for that. I'm not exactly sure how much, but I will include that in the description below. Again, if you guys want to know more details about the restaurants or the tours that I did today, everything will be linked and listed below in the description. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I will try to get back to you guys in the comment section. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do enjoy making these videos and sharing my experience, and hopefully this will help you if you're planning a trip to Iceland or if you just like to watch travel videos. And don't forget to stay tuned for the next video where we get to leave Reykjavik and explore the Golden Circle.